Hello everyone and welcome to Games, Comics and Crafts.
In this video, I'll be looking at Conan the Barbarian, issue 21. Okay, so this is Conan 21, the Dan Panosian textless cover. Very, very nice. Again, I think there's quite a few covers in here. This one is pretty decent. Um, so yeah, again, not quite sure when the timeline with this happens because I think there's a lot of time covered. It talks about basically, if these winged creatures can't, you can fight anybody. Doesn't have to fight winged creatures. They're not scarable. And he kind of mentions that how he falls in with a group of mercenaries and they kind of do all this stuff, and then he basically find this bad guy tribe that is there as well. And the wing thing he thought was apparently a sacrifice, and she rescues this girl, and off they trot. So eventually they get to a city or town where they work with strangers, and they're all very, very happy and very, very pleased to see them all the time. And it's like, oh, everything's good, everything's brilliant. Um, and it's like, okay, this seems a bit odd. Not quite sure what's going on here. So they see, oh, there's refreshments in here, and it's fine. It's like, okay, so they go in there, and it's like, oh, sit down, eat something, it's fine. And he kind of goes, right, you need to be careful here because something weird's going on. Unfortunately, all of his friends go a bit crazy and start actually eating too much. And while Conan only eats enough to sustain himself, and the girl does the same thing, and off she gets a bit flirty. So off they go up into the room, and apparently it's part of Conan's strategy because he reckons that he can get away with that. And while she's exhausted, which I think is quite funny, he can go out on the rooftops and see what's going on. And it turns out that they are still there. They're still got that smile on their face, and they're taking this bread and water outside. And they take the bread and water outside, and apparently there's um, some guys left in this pit. And as he returns back to the original place, it turns out that they are now being put into the same pit. Of course, Conan's having none of it, starts attacking people, but unfortunately, the sheer mass of people is more than enough to kind of bring him down, and he finds himself awakened in the pit. Um, and these guys are still smiling. Kindness begets kindness. Um, Over the course of the next few days, he tries to make his way out of the pit, but every time he does so, he gets pushed backwards. And they keep throwing food down there, and the people everyone else again is just eating this food and this drink. Where again, once again, Conan is only taking the minimum because this stuff is drugged, and they are just basically falling back into the same kind of control they were previously. After a little while, though, this lass turns up, um, who apparently is, you know, the responsible for taking it prisoners, number one, and apparently cursing the entire town with the permanent smile on their faces. Um, Unfortunately, when they grab all the ones from the pit, Conan, obviously not in a weakened state, breaks free and starts attacking people. And but unfortunately, again, it doesn't help him, and he is put back into a prison. And it's like, okay, what's been going on here? It's like, well, you're going to be there's going to be a sacrifice, and you're going to be a problem. And it turns out that they put him into an arena to fight, and we start seeing the snake stuff going on as well. This big guy here, Grimbar the Carver, and observing the battle is Thothamon, the old snaky boy himself. Um, so yeah, good. It taps along at a nice pace. It's a pretty decent story. There's again, it just shows Conan's kind of stubbornness when it comes to looking after himself and making sure. But he's got some kind of he's got self control and willpower that he doesn't fall into that thing. Even though put a pretty gal in front of him, his willpower probably is the last thing to worry about. Um, but again, as I mentioned before, when in the previous Conan stuff, Thothamon. Um, I, I've never read the Howard books. I don't know if he's a bad guy that is only in the comics, and so therefore you can pepper him through the stories, or I don't know if he's the main bad guy in the books. I have no clue whatsoever. But at some point, there's got to be like a first meeting of them, either retelling, which is presumably if he's in the books, it's in the books. But if they're doing that, it's got to be either a retelling of that story, like we've seen in previous stuff, or he's going to be a guy that Conan immediately goes, "I recognise you. You're the guy I fought in X, Y, Z." And I don't think that's happened yet. This guy seems to be largely in the background on a lot of plots, and he's kind of responsible for a lot of stuff that's going on, or his organisation or whatever the Snake People and all that kind of stuff is. But now, I mean, unless he's not looking upwards, Conan's literally going to meet this guy face to face. So I'm very interested to figure out exactly how this all kind of fits together. If anyone knows, I'd be really interested. If you put in the comments that he's in the books, I'd be very happy to know that, and how many he shows up in, and if he's like the major bad guy and the stuff. I don't know. Um, but yeah, but all in all, it's another decent Conan book. I mean, Conan's pretty consistent, and I do quite like these kind of little kind of four arc storylines. Um, it's just piecing them together because they randomly go up this kind of around this timeline all the way through to young Conan's King Conan, just trying to decide what stuff fits in where and who he's met people with. So, but yeah, all in all, not too bad. Anyway, that's enough rambling for now. So thanks for listening, and hopefully I will see you on another video very, very soon. Bye bye.